Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on this November the 11th, 11 of 2024. I'm astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. As you see, I have a very unique guest. Her name is Kendra, although it says Kenda. That is an error on my part. It is Kendra, who is a wellness person. Very, very interesting. We're going to be talking about what she does in a moment. But I do want to let you know that, let me get myself up here. All right. Okay, everybody, thank you. This is, before I bring on my guest, this is a special day in the sense that actually this was known as Armistice Day, or whatever they call it now, Veterans Day. Was established on 11/11 of 1919. That was interesting. There's 11, and then there's 19, then 19, which adds up to a 20. So 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. The 11th date, 1 plus 1 is 2. The year 20. So it's a 2, 2, 2 across the board. Now, King Simon, with his clever self, he would put 11 on top of the 11 to make it 22. So we're not going to get into all that, but because I have a wonderful guest, I'm going to be talking about things that are very for your health, your wellness, which is very important. But in the meantime, let me let you know that the show is being sponsored to you by Nicholas Brooklyn. They have a wonderful event coming up this Saturday afternoon. They're going to have Nuri Muhammad. He's going to be doing a book signing from about 1 to 3, and then from 4 to 7. We're going to have the sister Regina Sims. Naima Evans, excuse me. I don't know how I did that. There's going to be on. Also, the sponsor is Manifest on Purpose with Ms. Kimberly, Kimbaley. Also, at the beginning of the new year, she is going to be having her Vision Board Mastery class, how to manifest on purpose. Another one of our sponsors, of course, is Eric Taylor, an astrologer. And believe it or not, on Friday, he's going to have a piece on Oprah Winfrey, whether she is a saint or a sinner. So that sounds a little juicy. So for those of you who want to register to find out, it's Eric at bigeastrology.com. That's Eric, ERIC, at BIGE astrology.com. So that's going to be interesting. And also my sponsor, Jazz Aphrodite, she has a holiday sale on, and she will be sitting in a week from today, and she'll probably give you an idea what she does and everything like that. So that should be a lot of fun. So I thank her very, very much. So now I'd like to get on with my guest, Kendra.
Yes.
Kendra, how you doing, lady?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Great.
There was a little confusion on my part, but I'm glad we got it together. Now,
Definitely.
there is a question.
Mm-hmm.
You wear several hats. You are a wellness instructor. You are a stretch therapist. You do. Now, there's all kinds of yoga. One is you be steaming and sweating to death, and then one you be freezing. What
Yep.
kind of? Now you do what is called Bikram yoga, right?
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
you describe your form of or school of thought of Bikram yoga.
Got it. I instruct Bikram yoga. I instruct many different things, but the main yoga form that I love and I fell in love with many years ago is called Bikram yoga. It is the original hot yoga, and it's done in a room of 105 degrees. 40% humidity. And in our studios, we actually heat by infrared. So it's like it's as if you're working out in a sauna.
Hold up, wait a minute. Because I've heard a big one before where it's like kind of like in a steam room setting, but you don't do that?
Well, it's not. It's we create the steam by adding humidity in the room. So we pump in humidity through our humidifier, but the room is heated by infrared radiant heat panels that heat the room to about 105 degrees. It's a beautiful form of detoxification. Of course, you know the skin is the largest detoxification
Yeah,
organ.
yeah.
And for people who are, you know, especially with our toxic overload from our environment, from our food, it allows us to kind of give our liver and all of our detoxification organs a break. So sweating once a day is important.
How did you start this journey? A lot of times people do it because they wasn't feeling well or
Sure.
always some backdrop. What got you into yoga in the first place? And did you start out with Bikram yoga?
I didn't start with Bikram yoga. I actually was a personal trainer for many years, and I started having children. I finished grad school, and I started working in international development. One of my friends came by my house one day, and she had to take daily medication for arthritis. And she
Hmm.
said to me, Kendra, I went and took this class. It was called Bikram yoga, and she said I had never had a sweat like that. She said, but guess what? For 2 weeks, I did not have to take any medication. And I was like, huh, if it could do that for her, what can it do for me? Now, I had just had my second child, and I was looking for a different form of exercise,
Sure.
something different. But the way she explained it to me was so intriguing that the next day, my sister and I went to the class. And I swear to you, I did not understand a thing that the instructor was telling me, but I just know how I felt at the end of class. And I knew I would be doing that for the rest of my life. I had never had a sweat like that. I felt amazing. I felt light. I felt, you know, just loose. My body felt really good. So I've started doing it in 2008, and I haven't stopped since.
And then you formed your own school.
I did. I went to teacher training. An instructor said to me one day, she said, I think you're going to go to teacher training. And I said, no, you know, I was rising in my career at the time. And I was like, yeah, you know, and I had kind of left behind the personal training because it was taking up too much of my time. And I said, you know, but she planted the seed. And of course, at the time when she said it, I couldn't afford it. And then I found a way to afford it. And I went, and I had my two small children while I went to California for 9 weeks. I did the training with Bikram himself, and then I came back. And after 2 years, I opened my studio with my husband in Riverdale Park, Maryland.
Hold up now. You said you went to California with Bikram himself.
I did. I
Bikram is
trained
actually
under.
the person for which the Bikram name is after.
Yep, it's an
Okay,
actual
tell us
guy.
about Bikram. I didn't know that. I just thought it was another form of.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
now we really want it to be known as that, because I think the more we link it to an individual, the more we kind of lose sight of what it is, the
the
amazing
purpose of it,
system.
right?
Yeah, the amazing system that has been created and that has been gifted to us. Actually, anytime someone says they're bringing a friend into my classroom, I said that person has given you a gift. I say I hope you understand the gift that they have given you. But yeah, I studied under Bikram himself. He's an incredibly charismatic guy, and I think that, you know, if you ever have an opportunity to take a class with Bikram, you should.
And
um,
he lives in California.
not anymore. I think he's in Thailand now.
Oh,
He's
he's
he had some legal troubles in the United States, and it's unfortunate. But I think that what we all learn within the yoga sphere is that, you know, our karma is our own, and the more we kind of try to wrap ourselves in other people's karma, then we tend to have some problems. And so the beauty about the Bikram yoga itself is that people who are suffering from all types of ailments can actually correct it by just focusing on, the movements. It works the body from inside out, from outside in. And with the detoxification that happens through the skin, you actually taking out a lot of toxic overload off of your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, and all the other organs that actually are functioning for you in your body to detox it. So I love the Bikram yoga because for people who are beginners, they can come into that class and understand what's happening, and they'll be able to see over time how their body changes. Our motto is, you change your body, change your mind, change your life. And so that's kind of how we promote the practice here.
What would you actually studying with the founder? Because, for example, I've heard of Bikram for years.
Yes.
So it ain't just that it started yesterday because you're in it. Okay,
Not
that's for sure.
No, he came to the United States in the 70s. So this has been, it's been an enduring form of yoga. And again, I love it because actually, Quincy Jones just passed. Quincy Jones studied with Bikram. Quincy Jones used to do Bikram yoga. And many, Michael Jackson did Bikram yoga. A lot of, Bikram actually settled in Bel Air, in California, Hollywood type, right?
Yeah,
and so he had a lot of people, major stars actually came through, but a lot of Lady Gaga, a lot of these high level performers are actually doing Bikram yoga because it helps keep their bones healthy, keeps them supple, keeps them, if you have arthritis, any type of issues with your joints because of the heat, it helps to loosen that. And because the postures are done in the same way every time you go in, you don't have to, it's not a guessing game. You're literally looking at it as, okay, I can see where I'm progressing or where I might need to work a little bit more in my postures. And it's something I've been doing for over 15 years, and it never gets old, right? I'm always learning something new about my body in the process.
There used to be a famous book called Youth, Yoga, and Reincarnation. Have you ever heard of that book? That book is like way out there.
Got it.
And they have the different positions, the lion pose, the child pose.
Yes.
Is it, you're saying there's just one basic position with Bikram yoga? Is that what you're saying?
26 positions that we do done in the same order every time you go in. So it's 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises done in the same order in 90 minutes. Every time you go into the room, you're doing the same sequence every time. What changes is not the posture, it's your body and how your body responds to the movements. And you'll find that some days maybe you didn't sleep that well and you're a little bit more tight. Other days you're like, oh, wow, I used to not be able to grab my foot, and I could grab my foot today. And so it's actually a great way to kind of see. And the beauty about the Bikram yoga is that anywhere you go in the world and you want a Bikram yoga class, you're going to know what you're going to get, right? It's not like Vinyasa yoga where it's basically on the whim of the instructor. It's the same sequence, which is what makes it so beautiful and scientific. I can go to France, I can go to England, I could go to Kenya, I can go to Morocco, and it'll be the same sequence.
I think that how many
so even if I didn't speak the language of that country, I would be able to do the movements because I would know it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and it's in an organized, sequential way. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
How many schools of
I
yoga
was
are there?
I was going to ask you because it has 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises. I thought you would have picked up on the 20 on.
No, believe me, I did. Believe me, I did.
I love it. I can't wait to hear it.
Anytime I hear numbers, it's like it didn't resonate, because if there's 26, see, I don't know if you know the birthday, but I don't know the birthday of Bikram. I just thought it was a technique. I didn't know Bikram was actually named after the person who developed the concept.
February 10th, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's February 10th. I don't know the year, but February 10th.
Because I was going to say, if it's an 8, it means he was either a Capricorn or an Aquarius, or born on the 4th or the 8th, the 13th or the 26th, the 13th or the 17th, the 22nd or the 26th of the month, or 31st of the month.
Got you.
Because and then on top of that, didn't you say he had 2, which is a 10? So that means it could have either been born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, the 22nd of the month, or whatever the case is. But being an Aquarius, it doesn't surprise me because Aquarians, of course, I'm an Aquarius too, but they're very, very innovative in the things they say and do, which I think is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You're also a stretch instructor.
Yes, I do.
What is it? I mean, everybody stretch, don't they?
No. I wish everyone did. It's funny, I have clients who's like, "No, I just want you to pull me on the table. I think if you could just pull me every day, I'll be fine." Um, the reality is a body in motion stays in motion, right? A body in motion stays in motion, and I think especially in our community and just in general in the United States, we are seeing people just being so sedentary. We're in our cars a long time, we're in front of our desks a long time, we're kind of sitting and being immobile. And in doing so, our bodies deteriorate. So we have to keep moving. And movement is good for the body. And movement is a way of stretching, right? Just moving is a way of stretching. But I actually do something called fascial stretch therapy. And it's this
What's the word fascial mean?
fascial. It's the connective tissue that holds us together, that holds together the bones, the ligaments, the tendons, everything. It's a fine, intricate web of connective tissue that allows our body to move and our shoulders to go side to side, our feet to go side to side. And I work on the connective tissue because it's actually also known as the emotional body. And so when we suffer trauma, even from it doesn't have to be emotional or just psychological trauma. It could be actually physical trauma from even like a car accident. Our bodies tend to tense up, and we hold that tenseness in our tissues, and it causes us to be less mobile. So when I'm working with clients, I'm working on trying to work through their restrictions that cause them not to be as mobile as they would want to be, and then it causes pain. And so someone someone put it up like Bikram's birthday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that means he will actually be 81 next year.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's interesting. Thanks, Amina. Thank you so much, Amina. Thank you. I got a sharp viewership. Okay, that's
Yeah,
all
I
I can
see
say.
that. I see that.
That's all
I
I can say.
so in with the fascial stretch therapy is it's most people when they get off the table they say it's better than a massage, and it's not to discount massage. It has a different role. It means that we are trying to work through how the body's moving so that it can move better, feel better, and perform better. And this can often not be accomplished necessarily by the person stretching themselves. So we take them through a series of stretches which allows their bodies to feel longer, leaner, and stronger. And at the end of it, you'll see people who they'll get off the table and all of a sudden their knee pain is gone, or their back pain is gone, their neck pain is gone, because we've been able to kind of work through the connective tissue. The emotional body, people discount it, but now there's a lot more research happening now around the fascia itself and how it has a role to play in almost everything that we do, how we feel, and how we move.
I think that's interesting because if you look in the animal kingdom, whether you got a cat in the house, they stretch, a
That's right.
dog, they stretch, lions, they all stretch. And yet we don't seem to want to stretch. And then we get up in the morning and say, and then that's about it.
That's right.
That's about it. That's the end of it.
That's
We've
right.
done it and we
That's
don't
right.
have a clue.
That's right. And people, I think, as people grow older, they tend to feel like they don't need to move as much, like they kind of settle. But anytime I have an older client and they'll say, well, how can I sustain this and keep it going? I said, just move, walk every day, just incorporate movement in your life. The sedentary lifestyle has so many other negative impacts on our life that people don't really tend to understand. Your ability to use the bathroom effectively, your ability to absorb all the nutrients that you're taking in, it's all of this impacted.
Hold up. Now you said it even affects your bathroom habits too?
Yes, because if you're sitting all day, the things get compacted. So movement helps to keep it moving. A body in motion stays in motion. Okay.
Because I was told they doctors would say if you do nothing else, walk. Is that a
Yes.
part of the process of a body in
Correct.
motion?
Walking is like stretching. It's the body moving. You don't want to be sitting sedentary for several hours in a day. You want to get up and move. You want to make sure that you're hydrated. The fascia also requires a lot of hydration. So if you're dehydrated, it's also going to lead to a lot more stiffness in the body and in the joints.
Is it so? Let's say a person is in the hospital. You know what they call? I forgot what they call it when a person's in the hospital for a over length of time and they don't move their muscles, it's atrophy.
Atrophy, correct.
Atrophy.
Yeah. Yeah, the people atrophy. That's right, and you'll see it again. People, and you'll see it. There's some people who can't avoid it. Let's say you were in an accident and you can literally cannot move. There is atrophy that happens in the muscles, but this is why someone else will come and give you the exercises or move the body so that it doesn't actually go into this deficit. But we don't. If we don't have strong muscles, we are not able to walk upright. Right, we're not able to even stand upright, and so all of these things are important for us to keep a healthy body even as we age.
Have you ever had the experience of somebody, especially those of aged or whatever the case is, where they've been in a situation where they're not active or mobile and their body is beginning to atrophy or whatever you might call that, and they call you in to kind of work on their muscles and stuff?
Yes, I do. I actually had a multiple stroke victim. So she's had probably at this point now, by the time I started working with her, about 8 strokes. And every
Wow,
time, yeah,
really?
that impacted her. Yeah. And so we did a couple of things. One was we did stretching with her because of course some of the areas of her body really became so rigid. And then we did something called pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Now the pulse electromagnetic field therapy is literally a magnetic currency being shot through your body, which helps to regenerate your cells. And so that's something that we offer at our Bikram Yoga Work studios. And then we also did strength training with her. So just lightweight, where she would just be, even if she was sitting, that she can actually just move her arms. We had her lifting her legs up and down, things like that, that she can do even while seating, that would help her keep moving. But that was one of my, as she was older, she was in her 70s when the last time she had the stroke, and I was working with her. But yeah, we do have a lot of clients at this. We have people who also suffer PTSD, who are coming in for some of these stretch and release services as well, because again, we're holding that trauma, that tension in the tissues that enable us to restrict us from moving.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What about children? Do you work on children too?
Yes, you can work on children. We don't do as much as the stretching, but we can definitely do release work on children for
Well,
sure.
not so much the stretching for
Yeah,
children because they should be a little flexible because they can put their
correct.
toe
You
in
can
their mouth and all
overstretch
that other
them.
stuff.
Yes, correct,
But
correct.
what about in yoga? Would they be too
Oh,
young to
yeah.
go to Bikram
No, my
yoga?
kids started taking yoga at 7 years old. And then, of course, and they would get in the hot room and do the floor series in the yoga class. And then we also offered children's yoga at one point. We don't offer the children's yoga anymore, but children should be able to do the yoga. It's really good, actually, for children to incorporate mindfulness in their daily activity. You find that they have a lot more focus and get their tasks done.
I think that's amazing. How long
Yeah.
now? How long have you been in business, dear?
We just celebrated 10 years in February. February
Yay!
February 22nd.
That's
222.
222. That's
That's right.
222. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And I think you are July 2nd?
I am. I'm
Yeah,
July
yeah,
2nd.
July 2nd. A water sign with a water number.
Yes, yes,
Okay. That's and you started in a water period. May I
yes.
ask what's your husband's birthday?
He's June 10th.
An air sign with a fire number. Very, very interesting. So it's the sun moon. The one is the sun, the two is the
Mhm.
moon.
Yeah.
So you two have a sun moon relationship. I ain't trying to get in your business. I'm really
Right, right, right. Yeah. No,
I
he's
think
he's definitely we're definitely opposites. He's a speaker. He actually teaches at the studio too. He teaches the hot Pilates class. We offer actually all of our classes are heated. So we go from 95 degrees to 105 degrees in our hot room. And all of it is again, we're detoxing and we're having fun while doing it. I liken it to a sauna and steam room treatment all in one.
that's amazing. Now where is your studio located again?
I have 3 locations.
You
One
do?
is yes, I do.
All right, all right. You go,
Yeah.
you go.
One is in Baltimore, Maryland, in the Mount Vernon community. The other one is in Riverdale Park, Maryland, not too far from College Park, the University of Maryland.
I heard of
And
College
then,
Park.
yep, and then the other one is in Northeast DC, Washington, DC. And we also offer like about 80% of our classes are also streamed online. So anybody from anywhere in the world can join us through our online platform.
No, 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 no. You don't know. I was going to ask you, with this technology nowadays, can
Yep.
people like zoom in or
Yeah. Yes, we
stream out
Zoom
in or something like
every
that?
day. Every day, every day. We have at least 4 or 5 classes a day that we do Zoom. We stream online, and then we also have our on-demand platform. We have an extensive platform on YouTube as well. A lot of the videos that people could download and just take mini snippets of classes from there.
This is so cool, Kendra. This is, I'm serious.
I mean, COVID changed that for us. You know, we've been in business for 10 years. COVID happened, and all of a sudden we had to pivot. And and thank you God that our members were like, we want you here on the other side. And they pivoted with us. Then many of them joined online. Some of them we did implement an underground railroad type of thing where we kept a couple locations open, but not, we didn't broadly advertise it. But yeah, it's, we understand that what we're doing for our community is improving the health, and it's not just by the physical activity that we're promoting. It's because we are also, allowing for connection. We are able to, talk to people, feel them, see them, encourage them, and in doing so, we can hold them accountable, and they come in, and if you're not there for a couple of days, they're asking for you, they're calling you, they're looking for you. So it's definitely something that I know that we're, on a purpose walk, and I know that what we're doing is important for our community.
Well, I'm gonna do this. How I met Kendra is she actually called for a session,
Yes,
right?
I did.
And then I might ask. Only recently have I started like, how did you hear about me? But
Mm.
even more so, only recently, within the last seriously couple of years, I asked, "What do you do?" And when you explained what you did, I said, "Could you be a guest on the show?" And boy, that was the best move to make. This was great.
I
Listen,
appreciate it
and
so
I
much.
think you said at the time I asked you something was going on where it was like a sign to make a change or something like that. But at
Definitely.
any rate,
Definitely.
this is really good. Now let me ask you this: on your banner, does it say here how people can sign up and register online?
Yes, we have our website, which is bikramyogaworks.com. We also have our Instagram page. You can also follow us there, Bikram Yoga Works, on Instagram. And we have a special $10 for 10 days. You can join us and take any of the classes for those 10 days, or you can do $79 for the first month, allowing you to go to any of our locations and join us online. Our classes are very diverse. We have from yoga, we have fitness classes, we have resistance based workouts. It's called dripped, dynamic resistance interval based performance training. And we also do different forms of yoga beyond the Bikram yoga. What I'm really excited about is that we're about to open up our dripped wellness and lounge. And in the lounge, we're going to actually offer vitamin IV therapy. We're going to offer infrared sauna. We're actually expanding our wellness services. We have cryotherapy if you've never been in a cold chamber before. So
I was going to ask who's he.
Huh?
I was going to ask who's he. Cryotherapy. What's that about?
Cryotherapy is cold therapy. So, I just
That's just the
explained.
opposite of Bikram.
It's the opposite of Bikram, exactly. So we go from hot to cold and everything in between. But if you understand how the body responds to different temperatures, you can actually activate healing with both heat and with cold. The cryotherapy is a chamber that we go in from the neck down, which allows, and it goes from minus 220 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 220 degrees. And if we want to get the skin temperature to just below 50 degrees. And if we do that, we know that it will activate some healing in the body. So if anyone goes in there with any type of acute injury, inflammation, it would immediately reduce it in 3 minutes. So the person will stay in the chamber for 3 minutes. The temperatures go down to minus 220 or so degrees. After the they cover their hands and their feet. That's very important. You cover your extremities so you don't get frostbite. And then when you're out, the body temperatures goes down. The blood has pooled to your abdomen, and then as the body starts to warm back up, it flushes the system. It actually like gives it fresh oxygen.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
deep.
it's
That's
actually
deep. How
amazing.
did you get into that?
Listen, I don't introduce anything to my studio that I don't try myself. A friend of mine said, Kendra, I've been doing this, cryotherapy. I think you should try it and introduce it to your studio. And I said, cryotherapy, listen, I'm a hot yoga person. I love being in the heat. I don't like, and I'm black. I don't want to be in the heat, in
And you're
the
a summer
cold.
baby too.
And
Okay.
I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Grenada. So I was like, this is weird. So let me tell you, I went the first day. I said, okay, I'm okay. Second day. And then the third day, I had this big endorphin rush. So much so, I called my friend and I was like, Lee, and she didn't understand. She's like, Kendra, calm down. I can't understand. And and I felt so alive. My body felt so amazing. The pain was gone. I had no pain and I slept so well, amazingly well. The extremes of heat and cold, in Eden and in Asian medicine too, you see that, and people are integrated because it does have benefit. So we offer both of those extremes at our studio. We'll have an actual infrared sauna. We'll actually have the cryo chamber. We also do localized cryotherapy. So a lot of my athletes that come in, they may have rolled their ankle or maybe had an acute injury on some part of the body. We can take our wand and put it directly on there. And I've turned black and blue ankles. Actually, who came to me? Caleb Williams, the
Taylor
Heisman
Williams?
Caleb Williams is the previous Heisman Trophy winner from last year or 2 years ago.
That's
He came,
nice.
he came, and his father was like, I need you to help me because he rolled his ankle. It was all black and blue. We put him on the PEMF bed first. This is an electromagnetic bed. And then we put the cryotherapy on it. Black and blue went away, and the inflammation went down just like that. Just like that. So if you're dealing with acute inflammation, as we know, inflammation is the basis of disease. So if you're dealing with inflammation in the body, you want to get a hold of it, a handle of it. And cryotherapy is one way to do so.
And you offer that at all three facilities?
We offer it at our DC location and the Riverdale Park location. Our Riverdale Park location is our largest location that has everything there that we offer under our network. And then in our DC location as well.
Man, if I ever in your neck of the woods, I want to sweat up a storm
Yeah.
and freeze up a storm.
We'll
Okay.
give you a VIP treatment. We'll give you the VIP treatment. It's actually, I think, in our community, and I'm talking specifically about Black people in general, that some of these things tend to be, seem far reaching. They seem really odd. That why would I want to sit myself in a heated room, of 105 degrees? Why would I want to sit myself in something that's going to freeze my bones minus 220 degrees? It seems like something that other people do. But the reality is when you go to some of these other countries where this thing is like the norm, these people are healthier for the most part, right? They're healthier. They're outdoor more. They're outdoors more. There's a lot more that's happening that keeps them healthy, absorbing that vitamin D, all these things that we tend not to do because of one reason or the other. But these are things that we want to make a part of what we do in our community as well.
Well, I often say a lot of times with people now, they go from the house to the car to the mall back to the car back to the house, and then that's it.
That's it.
And then we want to know why the obesity, why the aches and pains, and
Correct.
things like that, because of the body emotion.
That's
and
right.
the stretching. As I said, I thought when a person wakes up and stretch their arm and yawn in the morning and get up to do things, that's it. But there's an art to all these things of taking care of the body. In fact, you are a wellness innovator.
I am.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I know. I'm going to tell you a story. My daughter was born with a brachial plexus injury, my second daughter.
Who's
And
he? What's that?
Is so brachial plexus, it essentially, she was too big for me as I was delivering, and
Uh-huh.
she got stuck, so they pulled her out instead of, going through the natural process where they come out. She was pulled out, and it pulled a nerve, and so when she was born, her shoulder was paralyzed. um,
Really?
Yes, and so for a long time, we took her from specialist to specialist, and I was starting to see how they were operating with her body and how they were kind of creating movement. We even explored taping and things like that. But I realized that a lot of it is energy, and so it's energy. So I started, manipulating and adding heat to her shoulder, and just holding it. And when 3 months or 4 months later, all of a sudden she went like this. And I said, and she gained mobility in her shoulder. And it's been the most amazing thing, because I realized that, we know the body is a mechanism that actually can heal itself, all right, under the right conditions. And so when I saw what I could do with her, I started going deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's when I started getting more into the yoga. I started learning more about stretch and release, and just fascia in general. And now she's a flute player holding her arm like this. And she asked me now, can you stretch? Can you stretch me? Because it helps her with her flute playing. And I'm
How old
like,
is your daughter now?
she's 16.
That's so nice. That's nice,
So,
Kendra.
so a lot of it is, people, is stuff from my personal, life that I've been able to kind of bring to a broader community. Well, I always tell my instructors, for example, that no one steps into a Bikram yoga studio, right, unless they have a problem here, here, or in the gut, right?
Hold
The
on. What
heart.
do you mean when you say that?
Yes, because when many of the people that step into a Bikram yoga studio, in my opinion, this is what I've seen over the many years I've been either teaching or even as a studio owner, is that, people are constantly in search of ways to heal their body. And I think modern medicine has somehow failed us in a way that the people are finding themselves, hitting walls when it comes to figuring out, well, why is my body reacting in this way? And it's not just giving a pill to fix it. It's like people really want to know, what is the root of this that is going to help me kind of change it, so I don't have to be dependent on this medication. I don't have to be dependent on XYZ thing. If I take the step to go into a studio that is 105 degrees and 40% humidity, it means that I've really hit a wall, and whatever that is, it doesn't have to be of a physical nature. It could be of an emotional nature. It could be just the body's just acting crazy, and I want to know what's going on, and I'm willing to go to extremes to figure it out. All right, and so that's why
Mhm,
I say
mhm.
that. That's why I say that. And so when I look at the people who come into my studios, they're people who I must treat with care. They're
That
people that
makes
I
sense.
must,
That
yeah,
makes a lot of
this
sense.
is a very unique person. It's not the person who's coming in looking for the next fad workout, right? It's not the person who's just looking for the new fit, new Billy Blanks. No, it's someone who's actually seeking healing for their body. And in that way, I have been able to just see what's happening in my community. And because I see, okay, wow, we have high levels of inflammation. We already know this because this is what the research tells us.
Mhm, mhm.
Last year I read a statistic that the United States was actually, there was a shortage of what do you call, like, the pills you take to go to the bathroom, right?
Mhm.
And there was a shortage of that. That means people are taking pills to have to go to the bathroom instead of
I
there
didn't
being
know that.
natural
That's
process.
deep. That's
Yeah,
deep.
yeah. And if you look, and so Amazon is actually amazing because there's so much data there, and you can see what people are buying. You can see what the trends are. And the fact of the matter is, we can actually turn all of that around, all of those things around. We can make our bodies function in the way that is optimal by giving it the right inputs. And that's what I love, why I love what I do. So when I look at what's happening in my community, that's how I decide what I end up implementing in the space. It's like, we last year we added a nutritionist, right? We know that food and what we eat is such an important part of our health, what we put in our mouths, and so we added a nutritionist. We have the vitamin IV therapy. Why did we add the vitamin IV therapy? Because we know that people who have gut issues, which leads to autoimmune issues, are probably not absorbing the nutrients from their food. So they have to get it from somewhere, right? So the vitamin IV therapy, which is done directly to the bloodstream, allows them to get the vitamins and nutrients that they need so that their bodies can function optimally. There's a lot of things that we can do to help reverse, aging, reverse disease progression in our bodies.
You know what's amazing, Kendra, is I was talked to a doctor not too long ago, and I asked him in his medical studies, did they ever teach a course in nutrition? He said no.
They don't.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Our
And
doctors
yet,
don't nutrition.
food has a whole lot to do with our health. And especially now that everything is ultra processed. It was processed. Now it's ultra processed. I mean, they put another layer on top of this layer.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. That's right. And now doctors, there's some who are able, who understand that they can actually prescribe food, food as medicine, right? We have to change in our community how we view health. All right. And how we view health care. What does that, and really the power lies with us first to be able to give our bodies what it needs, and so that it can operate optimally. This is something that we know we can do without necessarily pharma. We know we can do this without medication. The body can actually heal itself.
But you know what's interesting? Speaking of that, if you talk to many of our people in the community, they will tell you like high blood pressure. They will
Yes.
say, well, once you're on it, you always got to be on it. It's why do you have to always be on these medications, whether it's
Yeah.
for the heart, diabetes, this, why you got to always be on it? Isn't there an alternative way?
But you know
But
why
I
you
do
always have
understand,
to be on it?
huh?
You know why you always have to be on it?
I know why, because the pharmaceutical industry made $1.27 trillion in profit last year.
Thank you. That, and also we as human beings, right? Humans, to change behavior is the hardest thing to do. Right? It's the hardest thing to do when it's like when it's something that requires work. It's not always easy to prepare that salad, to go to be intentional about actually preparing the food that you're going to eat, sitting and actually eating it. There's things that we're in a go 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 society that doesn't allow us those things that they seem inconvenient to us. So I definitely believe that if we can change our mindset about how we view health and what those inputs can be, then we can actually make those changes regardless of what the big pharmaceutical companies say. But also this is why I love what I do at Bikram Yoga Works, because because we know human behavior is hard to change. It's hard to change behavior. What we want is to create that behavior change within a community of accountability, right? Where people can
I like
actually
that. We take it
be
to another level.
Yes, where we're accountable. If I don't see you, oh, you're gonna get a call from me. Oh, are you eating that? Oh, what are you? What you go? We just worked out. We're not gonna go and have no ice cream.
Yeah, you're
You
not
know
gonna
what I mean?
undo your work, right?
Exactly. That's it. And so the community of accountability enables us to kind of stay committed to our health journey. Otherwise, we fall back into old patterns that seem convenient.
And it's very expensive to get sick, not only just dollar wise, but
Very well.
physically. You
That's right.
can't do anything. I have a question here from my moderator. She says, Kendra, how does one prepare for a Bikram yoga class? I've always wanted to do it, but I'm afraid I might pass out from the heat. Now, I
Wow.
think that's interesting. How do you do that?
First, you must be hydrated. That's the one thing.
In other words,
People
drink plenty of water before you get
Yes,
there.
and some people, if you're a super sweater, let's say in the summertime, you just have to go outside and all of a sudden you're drenched. You might not be able to hydrate just with water. You're going to need electrolyte enhanced water. You might need to add a little bit lemon, honey, or Himalayan salt in your water because you probably would be the one to sweat more in the hot
Uh,
class.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
hydration is key, and then not just plain water. And be careful about the water that you drink, because some of the waters on the market are designed to make you more thirsty. So
I
you'll
heard.
never be hydrated by drinking them, right? So
It's
you
all
have to.
about the bottom line, you know.
That's correct. So you have to find, water that is is good, has good pH balance, and has good electrolytes. And so that's one. The other thing is, when you're coming to class, you want to wear the least amount of clothes that you feel comfortable. You don't want to wear sweats. You don't want to wear anything cottony. You don't want to wear anything thick, because you're going to sweat from just by standing in the room. And because you're moving, you also don't want stuff that's going to cling to your body. So you want to find dry fit and form-fitting clothing to the extent that you're comfortable. Most women wear a sports bra, maybe some shorts or leggings, and most men just wear shorts with no top. Or if they are wearing a top, they're wearing it's a tank. So you want to wear the least amount of clothes that you feel comfortable. We don't wear shoes or socks in the Bikram yoga class, because heat rises from the feet up. So you don't want anything that's going to cause the heat to rise, which will make you feel lightheaded and dizzy. Um, well, how else can you prepare? No eating heavy meals at least 2 hours before the class starts. So when
That's good.
you want to eat, make sure you're eating light. So maybe an apple, maybe even a yogurt, something light that your body can kind of process within 2 hours. No greasy food, because you do a lot of stuff on your stomach and it could feel very uncomfortable. So no greasy food, no heavy food that's going to cause you, some discomfort in the class.
This person obviously knows you. Her name is Keisha Frazier. She says Kenda is
Oh,
absolutely amazing. She's a member of BYW here in Washington, D.C. I co-sign everything she's saying.
oh,
What a
thanks,
nice
Keisha.
testimonial.
Oh, amazing.
That's a nice testimonial. I think that's nice. Let's say, oh, here's another person. Rhonda Cooper just followed WY
BYW, Bikram Yoga Works.
on
Uh-huh.
IG. Thanks to the content. Good night.
Thank
Tonight,
you.
rather. Give
Thank
thanks. Okay.
you.
Yeah, this is very, 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 very nice. Um, this person here says physical yoga is the lowest form of yoga, but the first step to spiritual, mental, midbrain activation yoga, which deals with pineal and pituitary glands, Lloyd nutritional education in medicine. No. Yeah, well, as I was saying, when I asked the doctor,
Mhm.
do they teach? Because I'd heard of that before, but when I had a chance to talk to a doctor, I asked him that, and he was very honest. No,
Yeah,
he
they
didn't
don't.
even hedge around it.
Yeah.
Don't teach
Pharma
nothing.
controls the medical schools in reality. So what they're learning is how to prescribe medicine for the most part. But the person that you just read the quote from mentioned the pineal gland, and as you know, the pineal gland is it's like God consciousness, right? But I love
Yes,
it because
exactly.
in the Bikram yoga class, we actually do postures that activate the pineal gland. So we do poses where the forehead is compressed either on the knee or on the floor. So we're doing things that help to activate that. And in our fascial stretch therapy, the one that we do one-on-one on the massage table, we also do a work on the pineal gland too. Research is now showing that many Americans, and especially people in the West, have calcified pineal glands. And if you have a calcified pineal gland, how
There's
do you
no
activate?
spirituality happening at all.
Correct. That processed food is killing us in many ways, right? And so I think that this is something that everyone, if you have never tried the Bikram yoga class, please come and try it. Find a studio near you. It's something that I found to be an amazing, addition to my wellness, profile. And I also I encourage everyone to at least try to do something, whether it is yoga or movement. Hey, Garcia.
Yeah, I says, I think this guy, the way he said it, I says, I think he knows her.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Garcia, for joining in. I do encourage people to try it. I know people are afraid to try the yoga, but this is one of I think, the most amazing systems that is out there, and it has stood the test of time. As you mentioned earlier, it was introduced in the United States since the 1970s and has stood this test of time. And people, no matter how far away they go away from the Bikram yoga, it's always something that they can come back to, because they'll know, their body will remember, creates this muscle memory of these 26 postures done in this sequence, and it knows it. It's very familiar with it. And so definitely I feel like if you haven't tried it, if you're afraid to try it, come, and our community is very supportive. And I think you'll have a good time with it.
Question.
Yeah.
I live here in New York City, right? If I went to a Bikram studio, the 26 procedures that I'm doing here,
Mm-hmm.
if I decide to move into your neck of the woods and go to your studio, is going to be the same 26 procedures.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
interesting. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
And so that's what people thought for a long time, that it was a franchise. And it does operate in that way, because essentially, every McDonald's you go to, I don't eat McDonald's, but the idea is that any franchise you go to
There's a
will have
consistency in their content.
consistency. That's right. And so the consistency is what you're going to find if you go to a traditional Bikram yoga studio, and so I love it, because again, anywhere you go and you can find a Bikram studio, you're going to be able to just kind of go into class. I've practiced in France. I've practiced in Morocco. I've practiced in countries where I didn't even understand the language, but I was able to get
But
in
they
it
all
because
understood the process.
but the movements were the same, and it was beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
God for that aquarium brother. I mean, because I'm an Aquarius, so I'm
Yes, yeah,
feeling
yeah,
it.
yeah. He
Okay, no
created
question.
something amazing. Yeah, he
Now,
did.
this person here says, "What is the good water we should drink?"
Mm. I'll tell you what we sell at our studios. It's not that I endorse it by any means,
Sure.
necessarily, but we do have essential water. I like the taste of the essential water, but I do go to, like Mom's Organic Market, and they have the Crystal Geyser water. So there's other waters out there that are actually really, really good. I don't drink anything from Dasani. I don't drink anything from any of the Pepsi brands or the Coca-Cola brands, because it tastes like what I imagine toilet water to taste like. I'm sorry. But I don't drink any of that.
Ooh.
But you do want to make sure you're conscious of the water that you take, that it is high quality water. And
Speaking
of
of that,
course,
young lady, I have another question for
yeah,
you.
please.
I understand that there's totally different of drinking water from a plastic container as against drinking out of a copper or silver vessel.
Yeah, that's right.
Would I be correct in that?
I believe so. That's what my research has shown. But because there's the elements of the earth that we're getting from the copper, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. So it enhances
And
what it is.
vessels, for those who may not understand it, that's what they refer to. A vessel is simply like a jar or a
Yep.
container.
Yep.
It's made of copper or silver, but they
Yes.
call it a copper vessel or a silver vessel. It just
Yes.
means what you pour it into, as long as it's poured into something copper.
Yeah. And because, plastic, it morphs, it changes depending on so many different factors, and it could leach into your water, which is what you don't want. Right. Many years ago, I stopped drinking water. If I left it in my car overnight, I wouldn't drink it again. I will use it to kind of wash my car off or something. But I
That's
didn't. Yeah,
interesting.
because if the changes in the temperature for plastic can actually leach in chemicals into your water that then gets into your body. And so just be conscious of that, especially in the hot summer, where you don't want we leave our water bottles in there. You don't want to drink it once it's
Yeah,
changed.
the heat just magnifies it, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Now, this
it's terrible.
person here says again, is this yoga online classes? And I do believe you said yes.
We
How
have
can
online.
let me see, is this in your banner
Yeah, if
about
you go to Bikram Yoga Works on bikramyogaworks.com, you'll see the list of our classes. It will say virtual or in studio. So though we have the two options. If it's in studio, many of them are also virtually streamed, and so you can always join those classes as well.
what about those who now they can't do this with Bikram yoga remote, can they?
You can do it, but you won't have the benefit of the heat. But I'll tell you what people did during pandemic. They literally went into their bathrooms, closed the door, turned the showers on, and got the steam going, put a little space heater in their bathroom, and they went to town. They did that yoga in their bathrooms, or if they have a small room in the house that they can use. And then there's other people who have like a hot yoga dome. It's just a dome that they can actually do the yoga inside of it. There people improvise. You just won't have the benefit of the heat. The postures though are amazing, and you should be able to do them. You should, you won't be able to go as deep. We don't encourage going as deep when you're not in the heat, but you can actually access at least some part of those postures, and your body will feel good just because you've moved it.
This is great. I'm telling you, I'm really liking this. This is okay. So before we wrap it up, because we've just got about 6 minutes to go,
Okay.
the importance of stretching so people can understand why stretching is so important.
Yeah. I just want to repeat that a body in motion stays in motion. As we age, especially, we want to keep moving. We do not want to become sedentary. We want to keep moving. Simple stretches that you can do them seated. You could do them even laying in your bed. You can stretch your leg across and across. There's movement. And so anytime you can incorporate movement, I encourage you to do that. If you're feeling in a way that you are, maybe restricted in movement, suffering from a current injury or recent injury, come and try to find someone who could actually move you. It's different than a massage now. The massage, it has a different function for the body, but when we're stretching it, we're actually allowing for the body to lengthen out, for us to remove some of those restrictions that keep us kind of tight and hunched over. And so definitely, if you can find someone who could help you do that, and your body will thank you for it. So keep moving, guys. So try to get out of your seats, try to get out of, and I'm not talking about getting standing desk either. Actually go walking, do something, and even simple walking, and it will be beneficial for you.
Well, I got something very interesting here. Royston Gibb, thanks so much for the donation. It says, greeting. What's your thought of on astral projection and the difference from the tropic? Different from the tropic. My apologies. He says toilet water is refreshingly cold. LOL. Maybe that's about the best it is. It's cold.
Right.
I guess that's what he means by that. But Brother Wilson, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that, buddy. Again, as Jazz Aphrodite puts down, this is where you go to see this in classes. Have you written any books or anything? Had you ever thought about writing a book?
I'm writing one now.
When you do, you got to come back. You got to come back.
And but I do write my LinkedIn page. I do write a lot about entrepreneurship. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. I'm passionate about helping young entrepreneurs actually find their passion. And I really believe, passion and purpose equal profit. And so I even when I hire for my teachers, I'm looking for people first who have passion, because the money will come, but I want to see the passion. So I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship and really supporting young entrepreneurs and their journey. I do believe that, part of us getting, even healthier is also being able to control our time. When I was working 9 to 5 and I didn't control my time, everything was programmed for me all day. Now I have a little bit more control over my time, and I'm healthier for that.
This person asked an interesting question. Should they buy water in a glass instead of plastic? I would say so. I think compared to what they're saying now, since plastic seems to get into everything we consume.
Right. They did talk about the BPA free plastic. There are, quote unquote better plastics out there. Do your research. The thing about the health is that everything should be in moderation and in balance. And so if we eat maybe some ice cream one day, you got to go back to the gym the next day. So everything you do, we want to kind of keep balancing. It's not all one way or another, or the other way. It's an interplay of balance. And so, I don't want to tell you only drink this. No, if you're doing that, also think of the other things that you can do to counteract what, potential negative effects of any action.
Well, I've had my show now going on 3 years. Mm-hmm. I never asked people to make comments. So I'm going to ask people to make comments afterwards uh, about this. This, Kendra, was most interesting. And what people don't know was you were just 2 minutes away from starting a class when I called you.
You did. I'm so glad we were able to make it work. I was like, Lord, it's 6:30. I was about to step in. And, listen, it happened for a reason, and we were able to make it work for a reason. So I'm really
And it
happy.
worked well. It worked well.
Yes.
And I got to have you back. There is
Thank you so
no
much.
question. I might repeat some of the questions again, but I think it is amazing. And you're saying now that you have 3 locations, but the beautiful part about the technology is that now people can also participate at long distance. They don't have to be in Maryland or Baltimore, DC. Is that
Correct.
what you're saying?
Correct. Yes. You could join us anywhere you are in the world. Just log in online with us.
And they log in at
BikramYogaWorks.com. You can create a registration there. And please, right now we're running our Black Friday
oh,
sale.
that's right. You said you have a discount. Can you tell
We
us about
have
that, please?
30% off of all of our class packages and memberships.
How much you getting off?
30%, 30. And so you could just use the code SAVE30 at checkout, and we'll see you in the room or online.
So don't forget, save 30 at checkout.
Yes.
Oh, now, by the way, we're
Mhm.
going to help the sister out in the studio expand because she has a cash app at the bottom left. It's $Bikram Yoga Works.
Thank you.
She's got 2 babies. She's got a
3
husband that
babies.
you got 3 now. Okay.
3.
Okay. You got 2.
3
Okay.
girls and a
Okay.
boy.
3.
Yeah. Yes.
She got 3. Well, that's even more why they need to be sent this
Yeah.
away to catch up.
3
Okay.
studios, 3 babies.
Yeah. What the women used to say, baby needs shoes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, baby needs shoes. So please send $ to Bikram Yoga Works. And also, seriously, when you write, you got to come back so
Well,
people can know how to get that book.
awesome.
I'm pleased for those of you also at distances who actually inflammation. Is that why people find it hard to open a jar and all that stuff? That's inflammation.
Yeah. 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 Anytime you have pain is an indication that there's inflammation, by the way. And so you want to be in tune with your body so you can understand when it's not moving the way it needs to move, right? Right. I have inflammation in my thumb, just from overuse, and
Mhm,
so
mhm.
this is something I have to deal with. Otherwise, as I get older, it could become, problematic, right? You want to be able to open those jars, but you're right. So anytime you find that there's pain, there's likely the sister inflammation. So we always want to control inflammation in the body, and the way to control it is also through movement, 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 movement. You keep the blood flowing so that the body can move well.
Well, Maureen Bellinger says, hello, Lloyd. Please have her come back. She's great. I agree.
Thank you.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
There's great. And Taylor B says, this is a great interview. I will definitely be checking out Bikram Yoga. In fact, I'm going to check it out myself.
Yeah,
Because
good,
I love
good.
heat. I
Please
love
do.
heat. Okay.
Yes.
Cold, that cryo stuff.
Right.
I don't know about that. I'm a
It's a
winter
mental
baby.
game right there.
But
Yes.
but the story you told behind it is very encouraging. Why not try it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your friend Jill says, this is a wonderful to watch and listen to. Thank you both. I
Thank
say
you.
to you too, Jill. Definitely, definitely. I enjoyed this. I
Thank you.
really, really did. And thank you for stopping your course just 2 minutes shy, okay? To come.
I appreciate you so much. I things happen for a reason. You and I talked that particular day, and I
Yeah.
needed to hear your words that day, and I shared it with a friend of mine, and it's just been, I've been just replaying it in my head. And so this year is just setting me up for amazing things next year, and I look forward to serving more and more people at our studios and beyond. I hope to see many of you in our classes one day, and hopefully if you pass through the DMV that you'll come and see us.
And by the way, please, when you sign up, please put in save 30. That's the code. Save yourself 30%. Okay.
Yeah.
More than likely, though, what is more priceless than anything is the money is good health,
Yes.
because money can't buy no health
That's right.
at all.
That's right.
And they have found in closing that generations now in their 20s and 30s, diseases that used to affect people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s
That's right.
is now affecting people in their 20s and 30s. It's like unheard of. And it's so interesting when I read, they'll say doctors trying to figure out what the mystery is. It's no
Mhm.
mystery to me.
Yeah,
If most of the food we have now is bioengineered ingredients, you
right.
look at the back of labels. That's why I tell my viewers, please look at the back of what you put it before you put it in your cart.
That's right.
Many of the foods now says bio and what is your definition of bioengineered ingredients? We ain't trying to start no stuff with the food
Yeah.
establishment.
Yeah. No, it's fake food. Just like fake news, right? Fake food. And the thing I'm so frustrated about is like I cannot find outside of, in this country a fruit that have seeds in them.
Yeah, everything is seedless.
Everything is seedless. And I asked the question one day, how can it be organic and no seeds?
I we are on the same page because if
Right.
it's organic, that means it hasn't been altered in any way, shape, or form,
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
therefore seed should be present.
That's right. So I go to, this organic market and I'm like, how come you guys are selling seedless grapes? Right? And you're charging
And
this
you know what?
crazy
I used to
price.
like grapes, and I'll go
Yes.
to the store
I don't
now, and
either.
everything on there, they got green grapes, they got red grapes, they got purple grapes,
Yeah.
and they're all seedless.
And they leave a chemically taste on your, in your mouth, and on your hands you can smell the chemicals. So for me, the more we can get back to what is real, you know what I mean, we gotta get back to eating real food. This is how we're gonna actually, and I see the big vegan industry pulling, black people in a way that is not necessarily healthy. I am generally a vegetarian. That's my food preference, but I try to eat real food. And, I don't want fake food that tastes like chicken or tastes
Yeah,
like other
yeah,
things,
yeah.
which is it's a bunch of process. So guys, please watch what you're eating. These this whole vegan movement in our community is actually not meant to help us. It's being funded by something else, and I think we all have to be careful about how we what we consume, and what we allow our kids to consume as well.
Well, I was told that if you look at the back of a label of something and it's got about a paragraph and a half, it's not too good.
It's not
The
good.
less ingredients you got in it, it should have no more than 3 or 4 ingredients. But if it's got sodium diiodide, and I understand now grapeseed oil is passing for the same as canola oil and
Correct.
whatnot. They
Correct.
just changed the
Correct.
name. There are
Correct.
about 200 and different names for sugar.
That's right. They yes, what was the one I saw the other day? I saw this aspartame. They changed the name of aspartame, which is like you'll find that in some of the yogurts that you'll see. They know that it's linked to cancer. They changed the name of it to something else. And I was just like, wow,
That's
they're playing
crazy.
tricks with our food that
That's
we have to
crazy.
be aware. We have to be aware.
And Jazz Aphrodite says most farmers markets sell fruits with seeds. Yep.
Yes, you can find them at the
Yep.
local markets. And I found grapes actually at one of our local grocery stores here, called Glut. Yeah, avocado oil. We remember there's this big craze on even olive oil. And if what you'll notice about olive oil is that olive oil does not work well at high heat. So you shouldn't be
Interesting.
frying food in olive oil, right?
Even virgin olive oil, supposedly.
It does not operate well in high heat. So what it does, it creates a rancid nature of the oil that also leads to further inflammation in the body. So if you're using olive oil, it's better to use it for salads and things like that, but not at high heat. Avocado oil is able to burn at higher levels without creating the rancid nature of the oil, and is healthier in that way. So just again, be informed, about the things that you're using, the things that they're pushing. Olive oil was the thing back in the day, and it's good for you, but not necessarily. You don't fry in it. Don't
Now,
fry your food in olive oil.
this person here says Yuka is an app to scan your food before buying it. It will tell you everything about the
Nice.
item.
Thanks for sharing. Okay.
It's Yuka, Yuka. That is the app. So in other words, when you're going into these stores, especially, and they used to have a lot of food markets. Now they got changed. Everything is changed. It's a
Yeah.
big change. It's all
Yeah.
more commercialized and stuff. And the sad part about it is it's all about the profit.
Yeah.
Here's my question too before we go. I think
Okay.
it's interesting. The ingredients that they put in food in this country is not the same ingredients they sell outside the country.
They
And
don't.
outside the country is not going to accept it. So if they don't
I was
accept it,
coming
why
back.
should we accept it?
I went to Morocco last year and I was coming back through Portugal. And in Portugal, we boarded the plane. They gave us our little, box of food. And I said, oh, let me read these labels. And it was like either cookie or chocolate or something like that. And it
Mhm.
said, not for consumption outside of the United States.
Wow.
It's actually said that on the label. And I was like, oh, wow. I put it right back in the box. I closed the box and I went to sleep.
Yeah, and in other words, they're telling you straight up before you
Yeah.
even consume it.
Yeah, you're not. This wouldn't work for us in any other country but the United States.
Well,
Why?
they got to
Why?
make a profit,
Yeah,
Kendra. Got to
that's
understand it's about that bottom line,
that's right.
about that
Pharma,
almighty dollar.
pharma, and our food industry, FDA, are like this, right?
Yeah.
And we are guinea pigs for a lot of this stuff that is not actually making us healthy. It's actually making us sick, and then we put in a cycle where we're going on to medication that we have to be on for the rest of our life.
And
Um,
thus, they're aiming to make $2.27 trillion for
Correct.
2025. That's exactly
Correct.
what they're
And they
doing.
they already know it. They already know it, it's unfortunate, but we can control that. We have to be smart about where we're buying our food, how we're sourcing our food, how we're preparing our food. And we have to be also willing to be inconvenienced, quote unquote, by actually preparing our food. Like I try to cook now more because I have, growing kids. Like I don't want them eating out all the time, but this is something that our life being busy as it is, it doesn't allow us to always do that, but the more you can, the better.
Please support Kendra, please. I really, really mean this. This was a great interview. I
Thank you
enjoyed
so much
this.
for
Well, I
having me.
enjoy all my interviews, but when it comes to nutrition, because
Yeah,
you only have one life, you only have one go around,
that's right.
and you
That's
might
right.
as well try to be in the best of health as much as humanly possible.
Thank
Safe
you. We
you
have Drip
and your
Lounge
family.
opening up very soon. We're going to have all these services available. Our nutritionist will be on site. Please check us out. Please follow us on our Instagram page so you can stay abreast of when we have our grand opening. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Kendra, thanks so much for taking your time. Because had I waited 5 more minutes, you'd have been
Oh,
instructed. I'd have been doing this show
I'm so
all
glad
by
you got me.
myself, trying to explain Bikram yoga. Okay, don't
Yes.
know nothing about it other than
Yeah.
that. But
Thank you
thank you.
so
And
much.
first of all, here's the thing. I thought that it was a form of yoga, not understanding it actually came from a gentleman that you had the pleasure of meeting, who
Yes.
happened to be an Aquarius like me.
Yeah,
So I'm
yes.
just too thrilled.
Yeah, right.
I'm just too thrilled. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you so much. And you have a
Thank
blessed
you.
day and take
You
good
too.
care.
Take
All
care.
righty.
Bye-bye.
All right. So everybody, I want to thank you. This was most enjoyable. I thank Kendra from the bottom of my heart. This is, hold on one second. Let me see. For those of you, this is her website. Please go there. Please support it. Please see. Please order. Please learn how to do yoga online. Um, so it just shows you the technology. So we really have no excuses to do this. Now, I do want to bring on my sponsors a second. Let me do this. Um, okay. Um, okay. The show has been brought to you by uh, Nicholas Brooklyn. Okay. This coming Saturday on the 15th, they're 16th rather, excuse me. They're having Nuri Muhammad. Um, and he is doing a book signing. He's going to be on from 1 to 3, which you see on the left hand side, the right hand side of the flyer. And then later that evening, afternoon, from 4 to 7, they're going to have this event. Also, talk about the queendom of being Nakina Evans. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It's for a gathering of queens. So that's very, very interesting. I am going to be having, I talked to Monique on Sunday of having her back because her birthday is next month and she's doing an awesome job. Also, I'd like to bring on my sponsor too, Miss Kimberly, Kimbaley, with her manifest on purpose. And don't forget, on the first of the new year of 2025, She's going to have a vision board mastery class. Y'all should be there. Then also, I got to thank my sponsor too, Eric Taylor. This is a brilliant brother. I'm going to have him on for the 1st of January. Then I'm going to have his wife on exactly a week later. If you want to go to information, because he is going to have this Friday an event coming on Oprah. I don't know why he picked Oprah. She's an Aquarius like me, but for whatever reason, he decided to do that, and it's okay. But he wanted to know, is she a saint or a sinner? So for those of you who got your opinions and whatnot, would like to participate, just go to Eric at bigeastrology.com. That's Eric, ERIC, at BIGE astrology.com to sign on. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Jazz Aphrodite. She's been with me from day one. She's just great. That's all. I mean, that's all. That's all I can say. But please, she will be sitting in for me a week from today. I don't know what she's going to have, but knowing her, it's always something very special. But please support her. She's having a holiday sale with 20% off. So you need to take advantage of all these other things. For those of you, my November newsletter is out. The link wasn't working to take you to the actual, because now I do an audio version of the map of the forecast each month. But if you can freeze or click on that bottom right QR code, that'll take you to the proper link. Then you go to your proper sign to actually hear what was said. And in fact, a lot of this is now posted on my Instagram for those of you who are Instagram, and it's also on TikTok as well. This is us talking about the, no, that's October, but there's a November forecast here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Anyway, I thank you. And by the way, for me, coming up next year, I have a couple of things in motion. In February, I'm going to be a professional numerology workshop again. It's been very successful with the last two I've had. In April, I'm going to be doing palmistry. That is my third love behind numerology and astrology. And beginning in January, there's going to be the power series, the powers of this, the power of relationships, the power of health, the power of money, the power of precious metals. Each month will present a series that I can really extend beyond what is on this platform here. Okay. So everybody, I do want to thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you Wednesday. That will be on the 13th. But again, thank you so much. And you'll all have a blessed day. I really enjoyed this. And all of you who every week, the Stephen Williams in Chicago, and all the other people, that too many to name, Coco Colors, and all of you, Queen B, and all of you, thank you, because you could have been doing something else with your time. And so that's why I try to give a good show when I can. All right, everybody, have a nice day. Do take care of yourself, and I'll see you in a couple of days, literally.